Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. I'm Mark from Begin to Code, and today we're starting on our new app, Tic Tac Toe, Noughts and Crosses. So I've got it up on the screen just to remind ourselves how this game is. So we put an X or an O in the box. This one the computer's playing against us, and we need to try and get 3 of them in a row to win the game. If you can't, then the game is tied. So just thinking about what we need in our app, we need 9 boxes, we need to be able to switch between an X and an O, we need to determine if someone's won or not, and we will be at the stage where we want the computer to play against us, similar to how that is, and if it can intelligently try and win, then even better. So quite a lot to build over the next couple of videos, and let's get on with it. So if you want to code along with me, then give it a go. If you are a developer, then please watch and comment where I can improve, because I'm beginning to code, same as a lot of people watching these videos, so we need all the help we can get. But anyway, let's get on with it. Let's begin to code. Okay, so here we are in Crosses Game version 1. So this is the new C# app I've created. I've put 9 buttons. I've decided to go with buttons to determine the playing position. So this is our grid. Got the label on Tic Tac Toe so we know what game we're playing, and I've put a reset button on as well. In load form, I've created a button array. This is similar to the lottery labels array that we did on the last application to hold the labels in. So this time it's a button array to hold the buttons in, called play boxes, and on load form I assign button 1 to the first position, button 2 to the second, third, fourth, fifth, so on. So all 9 buttons go into the array. The other thing I've done is I've clicked on one of the buttons and created its click event, which is called button game. I renamed it to button game. And what we're going to do, so button 1 is on button game. I think you can see that, just checking I'm not covering it up. So button 2 is on nothing. So we want all the buttons pointing to the same click event, and we can do it this way. So whatever button we click on, it's going to run the same action, the same piece of code. But not to worry, because the button is still unique. So the next piece we're going to do is handle that. And so what do we do when it clicks on a button? How does it know it's button 3 or button 6 or button 5, and what should it do? So now we've got all of our buttons pointing to the same click event. Let's have a look at the click event. So at the moment that's an empty void, and the first thing we're going to do is identify what it is that, or which button has clicked it. So we can say button, and this will give it the identity. We'll call it button, BTN, and that equals to the button sender. So that is telling us button is going to tell us if we've clicked on button 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 or 7, etc, etc. And what we can do in here now, just to prove that, is we can say button.text is going to equal, and we can put our X in there. So if we run our code now, we should, with a bit of luck, maybe the first time we run it's going to take a bit of time to generate. There we go. So now when we click it, we can see we're putting an X in our box. Now a few things wrong with this. One, it doesn't flip to the 0. We can re-click it. It doesn't check if we've won. I mean, we've won on every single combination there. Reset doesn't do anything. But we know all this. We haven't programmed it yet. All we've literally done is tell it to put an X in the box. So maybe we can start to think now, let's switch it between the X and the O. So between player 1 and player 2. So the way I'm going to do that is by using a Boolean this time. So a true or false, because we're either one or the other. So we'll call that player, and we'll set that to true. So if our a Boolean player is true, it's an X. If not, it's an O. And so now in our button we're going to put in an if statement. I like if statements. So if player equals to true, then let's do this. Else, let's do this. So if it's true, we're going to put an X in the box. Let's cut that and put it there. And if it's false, we're going to put an O in the box. Now what we need to do is switch the boolean every time we click the button. So if we come into it equals true, after we put the X in the box, let's set player to equal false. And if it's in false, it's going to come into the else piece of the if statement. So then let's set player to equal true. So now we should be able to flip between X's and O's when we update our grid. Let's have a look, see if we run. So we've got an X, we've got an O, we've got an X, we've got an O, we've got an O. Well, that works. So, I mean, that's the basis of the game, right? We're halfway there. So now what we can do is start to think a few more things, because, well, let's actually run it again. So if I click an X and an O and I click that, oh no, it doesn't update. Oh yes, it does. It updates again. So I can re-click. I've got to sometimes double click the buttons, but I can switch between the two, so that's no good. If someone's taken the square, we can't take it, so we need to stop that. And the way we're going to stop that is by disabling the button. So we'll say there's a code called button enabled, and we will set that to false. And that is going to be in both sections. So actually I don't need to put that in. I can put that, maybe I can put that here. Let me see if I put that there. That should disable my button. Yep, disables the buttons, so now we can't click them back. And what I was just wanted to be sure of, if I just wanted to put that line of code in once, right? That's the efficient way. So now we've got a win and it's not doing anything. We've got another win. Obviously the game should be stopped. So we need to start thinking, have we won or lost the game? So let's now have a look at how we think about that. Okay, so we're going to start thinking about if we've won or not. So we've created a couple of variables up here. We've got play boxes and the boolean. So here are IA variables. So let's just create a note. This is where our variables are going to be, and we're going to create a bit of a bigger combination of variables. Now we're going to call it winning combo arrays. So this is an integer array, and we'll call this win combo 1, and this is a new integer array, and the combinations in here is 0, 1 and 2. Now what does that mean? Let's come back to our game board design and think about how we win tic-tac-toe. So you want to put an X or an O in a line of 3, so 1, 2, 3, but arrays start at 0 in C#, so this is 0, it's the first place on the array, so this is 0, 1, 2. Then that's one combination. How many combinations do we have in tic-tac-toe? There's 8, right? There's 3 horizontal, there's 3 vertical, and then there's 2 diagonal. So we need to create winning combinations because we've got this row, this row, this row, this column, this column, this column, or to 2 diagonals. So it needs to cycle through. The way I'm planning on doing this is cycling through the win combos to see if we have the wins. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8. So these are our win combo arrays. So let's call this 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8. And our combinations, so we've got the first line, so the second row is going to be 3, 4 and 5. So 4 in this instance is our center square. Then we've got 6, 7 and 8, so there's our 3 rows. Now our columns, we can actually follow them, so we've got 1, 3 and 6. We've got, 0, 3 and 6. We've got 1, 4 and 7, and we've got 2, 5 and 8, 8, and then we've got the diagonals, which is going to be 0, 4 going through the center square, and 8, and 2, 4, and 6. So these are the boxes that if we get the same symbol, an X in each of these three, in whichever combination, or an O, then we've got a winning combo array, and so we know that we've won the game. So we're also going to hold an array of the winning combo. That's going to be an integer array, and it's like a double array, this one. So actually I started a note, then I started typing the array. So this is winning combo combo array details. So this is an integer array. It's like a double array, this one. Win lines, and that's going to equal a new int, which is 8 by a square. So this is the combo that we're going to hold the winning combo in, and we've got 8 possibilities for win lines. So let's think now, when we click on the game, have we won or not? So we're going to need to call a function outside of button game every time we click. Did that click win the game? So let's create a new function called checkWin, and let's come down here, and this can be a private void. It doesn't need to return anything at this stage, so a private void, which is going to be called checkWin. Sorry, squiggly brackets. So there's our function that we're calling every time we click the button. Did we win anything or not? I was just looking to see here if I created anything for reset game yet. I haven't created reset game yet either. I'll just double click that button to give me the button reset function, just so I don't forget that we're going to need to reset this as well. But let's think about checkWin. What we need to do is scroll through the buttons to see if we've won. Now the way I'm going to see if we've won is I'm going to tag the buttons for an X or for an O. So every X is going to have a 1 on it, every O is going to have a 10 on it, and then the winning combos, when we cycle through those winning combos, if they sum to 3, I've got 3 X's in a row, or if they sum to 30, I've got 3 O's in a row. So that's the way we're going to check. The reason why we can't do 1 and 2 is because I can have an X and an O and it's going to equal 3, and that's not going to be a win. So I can't say the win is either 3 or 6. I need to make a bigger distinction between them. So let's come to our button game click. So where we're setting it as an X, let's also set the button.tag, which is like an invisible tag on the button. Let's set that to 1 on an X, and we will set it to 10 on an O. So now I've got some values behind these which I can sum through checkWin to see if we've won anything. So we're going to need a for loop, and it's going to need to be 8 long, because we've got 8 different winning combinations. So for int I is O, as long as I is less than 8, then I plus. So every time it goes through, it's going to add 1 automatically into I and cycle through it. Now let's create, we need to sum them up, so we need 3 variables to hold the tags for each 3 boxes in the win combo, and then a total. So we're just going to create a simple A. And these are all integers. We're looking at whole numbers, so we're fine. An integer B, sorry, an integer C, and then we will also, let's make that C, and we'll have an integer of total. So these are our 3 integers which we're going to use to store the 3 values each time we cycle through the for loop of the win combos to see if we won anything. So A will be set a. So I think even though we've put an integer in, we actually need to convert it to an integer. I think it takes it as a key, as a text. So we need to convert dot to int 32. Now we want to pick up play boxes. Play boxes. And what do we want to pick up? I think actually we need to pick up, yes we do, we need to pick up extras. We need to pick up this win lines. So for win lines we need to pass in our winning combinations. That's what goes into the 8, and we should do that on load. So on load here we're putting in play boxes. We're putting in the buttons into play boxes. That's where we're going to start to use that. Let's put the winning combinations into win lines, which is where we're going to hold the winning combination. So win lines 0 is going to equal win combo 1. And let's just go through and put these 8 in here. Okay, so I've created the load script to put the win combos into the win lines. So there's 8 win combinations going into win lines, and then I've written the first statement of the check win. So we go through play boxes. It picks up the win lines. It picks up the tag and it puts it into A, B, and C. So the sum of A, B, and C. This is now what we need to check through to see if that totals either 3 or 30. So we can now put an if statement in our for loop. So if total is equal, we need the double equals because we don't want to set total, we want to look at it. It's either 3 or, and that's the double pipe signal, or total is equal to 30. Then what do we want to do? It's always a good question. So then we want to do a couple of things. First, what we're going to do is really highlight the row or column or diagonal which has 1. So there's 3 boxes in there. So we're going to create another for loop. Int j is equal to 0. As long as j is less than 3, then j plus plus. So this is for the 3 boxes. That's going to be play boxes win lines, and that's going to be equal to I and then j dot back color. Is it dot back color? I'm pretty sure it's dot back color. COLO back color is going to equal color dot red. Doesn't seem to like something there with back color. I.j, I think I'm missing a square bracket is the reason why. Yeah, so win lines, because it's the double, we need to pass that through. So we've got our colors going to red. Then we will also say that if the total is 3, then we'll put a message box dot show that, and we can say player X has 1, and else let's put the else in. Else player X hasn't won, player O's won. So else we can say that player O has won. O has won. So that's going to be nice. We should now have something to say if somebody's won. Let's run our application and test this out, see if this is working. So we've got put an X in, we put an O in. Now we want to generate a win. So I'll put an O, I'll put an X. O's are going to win it. Player O has won. And we get 3 red cells so we can see, yes, that's the winning line. Okay, but the game, now X has won. Now O has won. Now X has won, O has won. So, okay, we've got to do some things in here maybe to stop us continuing to play. Or to break it. We need to do our reset. I think that's a piece that we must do. So in reset, because we could also go through this game and not win, right? If we run it from here, XO 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 X, nothing's won, but reset does nothing. Let's do the reset quickly and solve that problem. So on reset we need, let's do a for loop. We've got 9 buttons, and so int I equals 0 as long as I, so it is less than 9, then I plus plus. Let's just basically go through this and reset everything. So play boxes I dot text, that can equal that can just be blank. The tag play boxes I dot tag, that can equal a 0, so that's done. Play boxes I dot enabled, that needs to equal true. And play boxes I dot back color needs to go reset back to where we were. So that's system system colors dot control, and that resets that. So now we've got a button reset click event. Actually, I'm going to put that in a separate function called reset. I think that's because then I can call it from different places. So this is going to be a private void. Let's call it reset game and squares, and let's put our for loop into reset game instead. Now button reset can call reset game, and we'll also call reset game on form load, and that will clear the buttons when we load the game. So let's test that. Let's just start our game. Our buttons are clear, and we can go and put our X and O's in. I need to make sure I don't win. Oh, and I have one. I can reset. Well, the reset did work. X, O, X, O. Oh, still keep winning. X, O, X, O. Right, that needs to be an X. That can be an O. That can be an X. I don't think I can win now. X, no. So nothing's won. Should probably put something in to say nothing's won, but the reset is working, which is pretty good. So we have a game now where we can see. Yeah, we could actually play this game, right? You could play with a friend, they could say which ones you want to put it on. You can't overwrite things, and you can come through and see if one of you has won or not, and the game is telling you it's won. So the basic premise of Tic Tac Toe is done. Okay, so the only thing I've changed in check win, in the if statement, if we have a winning combination, I've stuck reset game in after the message boxes. So after we click the message boxes, now the game resets. So we have a tic-tac-toe game, XO, XO, and if we win, it tells us which players won, highlights the row, and when we click OK, it resets our game board back to 0, and we can start to go through it again and play the game. So I think that's pretty good for video 1 in tic-tac-toe. We have the basic game built. From here, instead of us being X and O, we will be X and the computer will be O. So we'll do that in video 2, will start to play the computer, have that generating where it wants to put its O. First it will just be random, right, just to get it working. Then we will think, or make the program think how to program this so the computer is going to check, can it win the game, or does it need to defend the game? Is there two in a row that it needs to defend against? So those are the kind of things that we need to think, what functions we need to go through, and how the computer is going to check whether we're winning or losing, or whether it can win or it's going to lose. So that's going to be in video 2, but I hope you've enjoyed video 1 of Tic Tac Toe in C# with Begin to Code. If you've built it along with me, then let me know. If you are a developer, then really let me know your comments, because I am beginning to code. That's the whole basis of this channel, right? I am not a developer. I am learning to code on YouTube with everybody else, and so I want you guys to learn with me. But if you're a developer, you already know how to code, so let me know your comments, and we can see how we can improve and apply those to this project or future projects that we're going to do on the channel. Like, comment and subscribe. Thanks everybody for watching today, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.